God's awesome creation. Did you know that? Our home planet, Earth, of course, is extraordinary and shows how truly magnificent my Father, our Father, is in all of His creation. It is an extraordinary combination of important features that makes the Earth a marvel of the ingenuity and carefulness exhibited by the Creator we know as the God of the Bible. Not Allah, the so-called God of the Quran, but the true and living God of the true and living Word, the Bible. Did you know that the mass and the size of the Earth are just exactly right? If God had made Earth, say, 9,500 miles in diameter instead of 8,000 miles, it would be double the weight of the air. And with twice as much oxygen, the amount of water would be greatly increased, and the entire surface of the planet would be underwater. Now let's look a bit closer. If the Earth were a little lighter than it is, its gravitational pull would be less, and as a result, it would not be able to hold on to as much air as we have now. And as a result, life on Earth, as we know it now, would not be able to exist. The perfection we see around us, before man began to ruin things, is all due to our Creator. Not through evolution. The Word of God tells us God created the heavens and the earth, so why would we think less than perfection? In fact, everything about this home that God prepared for us is just exactly perfect. Take, for example, the distance from the sun. If the Earth was just a short bit closer to the sun, it would be very hot. If we were just a little further away from the sun, it would be extremely cold. The tilt and rotation are just perfectly right also. The Earth's axis, which now points to the North Star, is tilted just at the curious angle of 23 degrees from the perpendicular. That is, in relation to the plane of its orbit. Due to that tilt, we have our 4 seasons, and for the same reason, there is twice as much of the land area of the Earth that can be cultivated and inhabited as there would be if the sun were always over the equator with no change of seasons. If God had tilted our world as much as 45 degrees from what it is, temperate zones would have torrid zones, heat in torrid zones, and in the summer, and then in very frigid zone of cold in the winter. But on the other hand, if the axis of the Earth were vertical to the plane of its orbit, and January and July would have the same climate, and ice would accumulate until much of the continents would be covered with ice 6 months of the year and flooded the other 6 months. Now think of this. If the axis of the Earth were horizontal to the plane of its orbit, there would be a crazy jumble of fierce heat and deadly cold, not to mention prolonged nights on half of the Earth and prolonged days on the other half. Well, this was just a brief look, but pictures God as magnificent in all He does. So we'll get together again real soon and to consider more of the perfection that God put into creating not only our home, but everything on it and everything in space around it. Thanks for stopping by.